Hello, friends. I am so excited to have a new guest with us and already feeling like we've got a friendship because we're mutual friends. So we're a couple removed, which makes us just automatic friends with someone we both love. And what I really am excited about with Laura Haver today is the fact that she is a play advocate, life design coach, much less she's an author and a speaker. So I can't wait to talk with her about play and what that means to advocate for play for yourself as a busy entrepreneur, working woman, and a mother. And I help so many other people play that I'm like, I need help getting myself to play. So I'm selfishly asking you to become on this podcast because I want to talk to you about it, Laura.
Well, thank you so much, Heather. I'm so excited to be here. And for all
Sure.
those of you that are listening, wherever you find yourself in that spectrum from playing a lot to, wait, I'm supposed to play. I'm just excited to share with you guys and, inspire you to try even just a touch. Because the cool thing is only just a touch of play has the possibility to transform your whole week and your
I
whole
love
life.
it.
So,
I love it. Okay, so of course I'm going to ask the burning question. What got you into this field of coaching, kind of a play advocate and life design coach? I mean, these are all questions that I'm dying to ask you.
well, in terms of what got me into play, I think I was just born playful. When I was a kid, my childhood nickname was Play Maloney, my maiden name.
It really was,
And
huh?
so I just am naturally playful. So thank you to
Mhm.
my wonderful parents, who gave me that space to play.
Yes.
And it's just been part of my life. But what I've noticed over time
Mhm.
is this pressure
Mhm.
to give up play,
Mhm.
to dull your light,
Mhm.
to not fully self-express. Don't play
Mhm.
the thing that you wanna play, right? Like, if especially if
Mhm.
you get to, like, middle school, high school age. So I have story after story of these little moments in my life where I was
Mm.
shut down and
Mm.
how I learned to show up. And now it's my just ultimate pleasure to help other people to do
Mm.
that in their lives, to learn how to go from shut down to showing up and how to
Mm.
use play as a pathway to
Oh,
live
I
an
love that.
intentional life.
Hence the word advocate,
Mhm.
because you
Right, so
have to
advocate.
advocate for it, right? That's
Right.
amazing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you have to advocate for yourself, right? So
Yes.
I had to, even as a naturally playful person,
Mhm.
I had to use all my skills and use all my studies and use all my
Yeah.
background and training again
Mhm.
and again, and it's not something that you just get and you're solved. You gotta keep doing it because 'cause you'll get it to new different levels,
Right. Right.
but it's
Well,
such an honor to be able to do that.
yeah, I have so much value for that because it reminds me of the allegory of this book I wrote, which I do so much of my coaching around, which is about this little girl who loves her tire swing and playing outside, and pretty soon she gets too many bracelets and she has to stop playing on her tire swing. It's really this allegory of just saying we've got to find our tire swings again and we've got to spend time under the stars to hear that voice on the wind that reminds us we don't need our bracelets. We get to actually move out into this world and remember that we once had a tire swing and we get to return to it. So that's the essence of this conversation today is all the my listeners out there are used to this language of finding their tire swing, spending time under the stars. And then my whole chapter book I wrote off of this allegory, which is just this idea of how do we return to ourselves.
Mhm.
So when I think of play, I'm thinking of time on the tire swing. It's a way that we rest and restore our soul, but it's active rest versus contemplative rest, which is time under the stars. So tell us a little bit about what you do to jump on your tire swing or to actually
Well,
play.
yeah, well, thank you for that. And first, I have to say, I love that description of the tire swing and the time under the stars because that's
Mhm.
really my thing too. Is play and rest,
Mm.
and you need to have both, right? And
Right,
because
right.
if you don't have enough rest, you can't play, but you can't, you need to have
Yes.
play in order to get true, inspired rest. So I
Right.
love that
Good.
for your book.
Yes.
And personally, I just keep finding new avenues of play. Recently,
Oh.
I started an improv class I've been doing stand-up improv shows. I started a class for women, and it's been
Wow.
amazing avenue for them and myself to continue to laugh. I mean, when do you sit
Oh.
around with a group of adults and just laugh and laugh and laugh for 2
Yes.
hours straight? So that has
Oh.
been super fun.
I love that. I actually work with a spiritual director. Sh She says to me, "I think you need to laugh more and you have and go find improv." And I'm like, "Improv? Like, what?" But it's almost like a spiritual discipline. She's saying, "Go find a place to release." your
Mhm.
humor and your laughter and enjoy it with other people in the room. I thought that was a fascinating thing. I still haven't done it yet, but now that you're saying that, I go, oh my gosh, that's the second sign. Usually I hit that third sign, then I go, okay, I got to go do this.
All right, I'll send you an email tomorrow. I don't know if that will count.
Yeah,
I'll have
totally.
someone from my improv crew. No. Yeah, well, you can just this is the thing. I think one of the pieces is like looking for the signs and then taking the action step because the
Yes.
action step, I'm sure, as you know, is
Yes.
crucial to
Yes.
making it happen. So, finding a friend who might want to do it with you or, finding your local improv place that gives out classes or even just
Yeah.
attending a live show. You don't have to start
Yeah.
performing. You can just take it in so you can find your level. So I share that
Oh,
for
I love
people
it.
listening. If there's something that's like sparking your attention or something
Yes.
that you were like you said, this is the second time I've heard that,
Yes.
or and just letting that whisper on the wind, as you call it,
Yes. Yes.
letting that take you into action. And you can
Mhm.
start small. You don't
Yeah.
need to go crazy. You
Oh.
don't even have to start a class, but just do one thing and see where it leads you.
Oh. So give us an idea of what you do as a play advocate.
I do all sorts of things.
Mm.
I'm really passionate about bringing play to everyone on a global scale, and I
Mm.
work with families and I work with individuals.
Mm.
I support different causes. Like coming up, there's going to be the Global School Play Day, so I led that. I led 800 kids in a day of play,
Oh,
and
wow.
it was really amazing just to see them interacting with things. Like I brought all this
Mm.
cool toys and different things on the playground to see what they would do with it,
Yeah.
and they would be like, "Well, how do you use this?" And I would say, "What do you think?" Because there's no one way to
Oh.
use it, and I let
Yes.
them generate. So that's really fun. I do a lot of speaking where I get to share about the power of play, especially
Mm.
around my book, which we might touch about later, is just
Yeah.
how you can use play to transform your life and your relationships with your family, with your
Mhm.
friends,
Oh, I
and of
love it.
course, writing. And I
Yeah.
I could go on for so long about this question.
Oh, I love it. Well, let's pivot right over to the book now. The
Yeah.
Power of Play. Is that the name of your book?
The book is called Play Together.
Okay.
And it's games and families for the whole family to boost creativity,
Oh.
mindfulness, and connection. Actually, I got that one the wrong order there. But yeah, so that's going to be launching early next year.
Oh,
It's
congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very excited about it. I've been a writer my whole life, and to have my first actual book is going to be just a real pleasure and a real, I don't know, just a life stream accomplished and
Accomplishment.
realized.
Yeah. It's a total accomplishment. Oh, congratulations. Yes,
Yeah.
again. I've written a couple books now, and it changes you, but more importantly, I'm realizing how much it creates your language for what it is you're advocating for, or what it is. So for me, it's 3C living. Get every person gets to live with more clarity, more confidence, more courage, and that's really the essence of this show: is how do we thrive versus just survive life? And
Mhm.
in thriving, it's this essence of learning. I get to live with more clarity. I get to live with more confidence. I get to live with more courage, which is our 3C living. So tell me a little bit about play. What play does to increase our clarity, our confidence, our courage? Because that's my filter.
Yeah, so it's clarity. I'm writing it down.
Yeah,
Clarity,
clarity,
confidence,
confidence, and courage.
courage. Okay. Well, first of all, I think it's funny because my other book I'm writing has 3 C's. And so when I saw your 3 C's for a long time, I've been thinking it's so fun because mine, it's a different
Oh,
context, but mine is for communication for parents. And so
uh-huh.
my 3 C's are calm, connect, and coach.
Ooh,
And
I love
so
it.
it's just a matter of, bringing the calm to the situation,
Oh, I love it.
connecting with your kids, and then
Mhm.
coaching them. But you don't always have to coach them in the meltdown because, in fact, you can't coach them in the
Yes.
meltdown. You coach them
Yes.
later. But in terms of play, bringing clarity, I think play is, like I said before, a pathway to clarity.
Mm,
The cool
mhm,
thing about play is you don't have to have any clarity.
mhm,
You just are led by your curiosity
mhm, mhm,
and you can try things out where there's no risk or there's very limited risk, right? So play,
mhm,
as I define it, is something that it's an invitation to do
mhm,
something for yourself for the pure
mhm.
joy of it.
I love that, which does increase your clarity, right? If
Right.
you don't mind me interjecting that with that,
Yeah.
because I'm finding as you're saying that, you'll find that you're working really hard at your desk and you're trying to be productive. For me, I'm realizing it feels counterintuitive, but when you can't get to where you want to go, to be able to walk away from your desk, go find your tire swing, go play, it's amazing when you return back to that project, that clarity is so much stronger and you can get past some of those barriers and those blocks that were keeping you stuck.
Yep, 100%. I love it. I love the tire swing. It's just like the best visual as well. So you're gonna go do your fire tire swing, but the problem is most people don't think that that matters. They think that takes it away,
Yep.
right? So they don't
Mhm.
play on their tire swing. They don't swing,
Yeah.
and they don't get that increased creativity and innovation. They lose
Yes.
their, enhanced communication and their energy skills. Just, those are
Yeah.
just a couple small benefits
Right.
play. So eventually it does lead you to clarity, but it
Yep.
leads it to you in a way that is low risk and it's fun and you just want to do it rather than like,
Yeah.
what's my life purpose or what's the point of this? And you sit down and you try to type it out and you're like, and you're just like
Yeah.
sitting there beating your head. And instead you get light and you get movement in your body.
It's
And
authentic, isn't it?
yeah, and it
Yeah.
just
I always
flows
joke
out.
that you don't have to teach little kids to play. They know. It's somewhere along the way they forget how to play. Then the process of productivity starts trumping play.
Yeah, which is exactly my mission is to
Yeah.
educate people
Yeah.
on, the benefits and the
Mhm.
value of play
Mhm.
so that they realize that it's worth it. You
Mhm.
said it perfectly when you said that being happy and playing leads you to the success. It's not
Mhm.
the work that leads to
Mhm.
the happy, it's the opposite direction.
Right.
And that
Right.
goes in terms of the confidence, right? For your
Yeah.
second C, it
Uh-huh.
is when you're playing around, like for example, when I'm out doing improv, I don't know what I'm doing. I
Yeah.
am just messing around and having fun and playing with these skills. But as I play, I'm building
Mhm.
confidence.
Mhm. Mhm.
And but it's like I'm doing it in a format where it doesn't feel like work. It just is a
Mhm.
natural consequence. So
Mhm.
you're able to learn and grow much faster rate through play when you find the right play for yourself. Like
Mhm.
I'm silly. I like to perform. I like to speak. I like to sing all these things. But someone listening might be like, "Great, thanks, ladies. You're talking about improv." I asked so many people. I probably asked 100 people to do this class. No one wants to do it. So,
Oh,
you
I'm
know,
terrified. I'm terrified of it. I
find
don't know if I could go watch
finding
it, but I don't know if I could commit to doing it, but I'm telling you, you're inspiring me because I'm like, "Well, maybe I'm ready. Maybe at 52, I'm finally ready to do
you
this."
should. Yeah, just go for it. And when whoever's listening, find what it is for
Mhm.
you. Like, what is your
Mhm.
tire swing?
Mhm.
And a good place to look is like hints from your childhood. What did
Mhm.
you find yourself doing?
Yes.
What did you love? I mean, I loved
Yes.
playing Barbies when I'm a kid. I am not suggesting that I'm gonna go play out Barbies. But I love people. I love, like,
Mhm.
making stories and playing, and so that translates on the stage and talks, that translates to meeting new people,
Yeah.
that translates in writing and being here with
Yeah.
you and sharing with like, connecting and reaching out to people. So,
Yeah.
looking for clues from
Mhm.
your past is a great
Mm.
way to, think of something new to try.
I love it. Okay, and then the last C, how does
Okay.
it give us our courage?
This one might be my favorite, and I'm just making this up as I go, but I really feel it, like, I feel it deeply. When we are able to express ourselves in the
Mhm.
way that we're meant to be expressed,
Mhm.
it naturally gives us this courage to show up.
Mm. Oh, I love that.
Like when we're fully being
Mhm.
authentic, not being
Mhm.
scared of all these things going on or these things you
Mhm.
shouldn't do. You
Mhm.
shouldn't do that, Laura. You're too old to do that.
Mhm.
Or you really should go work on your book or you should go do these other things. Like, oh
Mhm.
no, I'm going to go play beach tennis and now I'm going to play on the pro tour when I'm in my 40s and I did
Yeah.
that. And you can do these
Oh,
things.
I love it.
So I
Oh,
think this courage piece is a really a big part.
I love that, and I think this is probably our time to find out. I think our my podcast producer said that we share, athletics and that we had a sport, and you asked me earlier, I said, "Oh, let's save it for the show."
Yeah,
So,
what
I
is
think
it?
you
I'm
you
mm,
just gave me a hint that yours is tennis, is that right?
mhm.
Okay, so mine was softball and volleyball. So I played
Nice.
both those at varsity in high school and loved it, and that is where I learned a lot of my not ability to play, but it really increased my confidence and courage to really go for things in life and to learn how to take intelligent risks. Everything from your body and how you engage with that to how you show up for your team and support your team and jump into that was really a lot of where I learned that as a younger person. But I guess I want to pivot over to this idea. why do you think, well, let me ask this. What do you think blocks our playing? That to me is the saddest thing as a coach as I work with people. And honestly, for me, um, as my husband and I are moving into empty nest, and we just launched our last kid into school, we're looking at each other saying, I think kids helped us play easily and naturally. Now it's just you and me. How do we play as adults? We don't have the excuse of kids anymore. And we literally were flying back from visiting my son at his school, and we had a 5 hour layover. The plane kept being delayed. And so we sat there in the airport, started talking about what do we want to do in our empty nest. And we both said we want more fun, want more adventure because we've been saturated with so much responsibility and productivity and growing our businesses and helping our clients and supporting our kids and just doing the right thing all the time that we're like, we feel almost play starved. So we're really becoming aware of that. But I want to ask you, what do you think of some of the barriers that stop us from playing?
Well, it's a great question. And the number one thing, and I mentioned it earlier, is that people don't understand the value of play.
Mm,
So that's the
mm-hmm,
top piece, but then it pairs with the other piece, which is, the life design part, which
mm,
is living intentionally in the moment. And,
mm,
you know, in creating, so for my book, each day my boys and I created a new game that we
mm-hmm,
shared on social media to inspire families to be connected, mindful, all the fun stuff.
mm-hmm,
As just a reach out, I didn't know what I was doing with it. And so I had the structure, make up a new game, play it with the kids each day.
mm-hmm,
So we had this amazing routine. So
mm-hmm,
one thing I really learned in that book was the importance of our daily routine and our daily habits,
mm.
as it really gave us the space to make sure we do it every day. And so if we are not
Wow. Okay.
intentionally planning what we put into our space,
Yes.
we end up reacting to all the things, and oh my gosh, we know how many
Yes.
things come in, emails, notifications,
Yes.
people at the front door, deliveries. I mean, it goes on and on and on, and that's a
Mm-hmm,
full-time job just managing notifications.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So,
mm-hmm,
being intentional and realizing the benefits
mm-hmm.
and then actually putting time in.
Put it
So,
on your
like,
calendar.
right
Mhm.
now, as I was gonna say, pull out your calendar. Anyone who's
Yeah.
listening, take a pause, pull out your phone. It's right here. Put
Mhm.
it on there and say, okay, I'm going to spend 10 minutes,
Mhm.
even if you're just thinking of what sounds fun, what sounds interesting,
Mhm.
and then plan it in once a week. Plan it in once a
Mm.
month, whatever it takes. Just plan in a little something
Mm.
and then give
Gosh.
yourself structure, and that's
Mhm.
what we do for people. So if you're really struggling, then reach out and find a
Mm.
coach or find a friend. Find
Mhm.
someone who can support you in that journey. I know Heather, you and I both love enabling people
Yes.
to do this.
Yes,
And we
yes.
know it's easier to do it sometimes from other people with other people's help. I mean, I have a coach and I
Yeah.
love having a coach. It's
Yes.
amazing.
I have a coach, I have a counselor, I have a consultant, I have a spiritual director. I have a team around me, Laura.
Right. It's amazing. But just so I make sure to get it in, I want to
Yeah.
touch on a couple of the benefits, okay, for
Uh-huh.
people. So reduced stress and
Mhm.
anxiety from play,
Mhm. Mhm.
increased creativity and
Mhm.
innovation, better
Mhm.
communication skills, better relationships, better quality relationships,
Mhm.
healthier mind and body,
Mhm.
more energy. I mean, the list goes on, and it goes
Mm.
for as an individual, as adults. There's benefits for intergenerational play, like playing with younger and older, playing
Mhm.
with mixed ages, playing with, different groups of people. And the research, which I'm a total research nerd, is just mind blowing. And it's so
Yeah.
fun to read. But then it's like, great, how do you implement it? Because
Yes.
that's where you'll feel the difference.
Oh, I love that. I love that in my work with corporate America because we can take ourselves so very seriously in corporate America. And I try and slip and play every now and then. Sometimes I have to make sure I do it without them knowing it because they will say, "Well, how productive is that? And how does that affect the ROI? And how does that affect our P&Ls?" And all of these really important questions they're asking. And I don't mean to mock that at all because they are important questions and they are
Mhm.
feeling the pressure of their work and their business. But what we sometimes forget, and I'm going to include myself in this, is we get so focused on those important adult questions that we're really not slipping in the most really important question of self care, which is how do we play with our team? How do we play together? How do we play on our own so that we can bring our best self to the team? These are all questions I'm really encouraging people to ask. And as they work with me, it's really profound for them to start realizing, okay, I get it in that allegory. So not only do I need you to help me take off some of my bracelets, I need you to help me find my tire swing today. So they'll jump right on the line to say, today I need to talk about my tire swing. I think I've lost it. And I'm
Mhm.
like, that's the question I want to start with because once we start there, we really will find your clarity, your confidence, your courage to do what you need to do. You'll have the answers within you and it'll unblock it. So I'm curious about some of the research because I too am a kind of a research nerd. What are some of the research out there that you found that you would
Well,
cite?
okay, so there's tons of research, but I have like an informal research that I did, which I wanted to share. I wrote down some numbers on this because I think
Yeah.
is useful in why most adults don't play. So I ran some polls in like a global Facebook group that I'm on, and I got over 500 responses from people about the number one obstacle to having fun as an adult. Because I'm
Yeah.
most curious about the adult play,
Yeah.
and there isn't as much information on adult play. So that's a real area of interest for me. I mean, there are overall benefits, but when
Mhm.
it comes to that, so let me tell you. So for this one, the number one, well, let me ask you, what do you think would be the number one thing that people said was an obstacle? I don't mean to
Time.
put you on the spot, but time. Yeah, time came in at number three.
Okay.
So number
Money?
one, money came in a little lower. I didn't write
Okay.
that all down in my notes. I think that was like 7 or 8.
Oh,
But
okay.
number one was lack of energy and health as an obstacle
Interesting.
to play. Number 2, not sure what to do. Number 3, lack of time. And I find it really
Mm.
interesting because lack of energy health, clearly, if you're extremely, going through extreme medical things, I'm not suggesting you can run out and go play.
Mhm.
But there is something to play that can improve your health, energy, and, so it's this thing like wherever you find yourself on the spectrum of energy and health,
Mhm.
I would invite you to look for just tiny ways you could find a little bit of play in your day
Mhm.
and notice as an experiment what that does to
Mm.
your overall energy level.
Mm.
I
What are
know I've
some
worked with people who have added just a tiny bit and they
Mhm.
feel better in their health, like certain people with, like, arthritis in their hands, they added small bits of play into their week and suddenly they're feeling better,
Mm.
and it's just amazing to see these tiny little actions have these big ripples of effects.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Let me make sure I got those top 3. You said health and lack of health, energy,
Mhm.
lack of not knowing what to do. What was the 3rd one?
Lack of time.
Time. Okay.
Yeah. So not sure what to do. So if you're not sure what to do,
Mhm.
that's a great place to be because
Mhm.
then you just can start trying things. And for anyone listening who's not sure,
Mhm.
reach out to me. I have a free playlist planner where I help. It's like a walkthrough worksheet. And it's like, what did you love as a child? What did you love? And I help people not only remember what they've liked, but then also like the intention, putting it in the planning or plan it into their week so
Right.
that they can have those two sides.
Well, I love that you're saying this because it's exactly what my husband and I are talking about. I could call it the Thrive Plan,
Mhm.
daily, weekly, monthly, and annual. So we tend to get focused on those annual, like we're going to go to Maui and
Mhm.
take the family to Maui or escape ourselves and go to Europe. That would be like an annual trip.
Yeah.
And then maybe like a monthly trip might be an overnighter. A weekly way to play might be going for a run or join a workout or yoga class. We looked at each other and said, I think we need to focus on the daily. What does it look like to daily play for, again, personally ourselves and then together as a couple? Because life starts just wearing us down. And then we're like, let's just do Netflix. It's the only
Right.
thing we
And
can think of to play that we can enjoy Yellowstone together, which I love that
yeah.
show. We love it. But how do we get past that daily and do some baby steps?
Well, you wanna try it? Let's want a couple of questions, like,
Yeah.
okay, so let's think of your regular life, and
Yeah.
let's not even think about it's your day to day, but,
Mm-hmm.
like, if you close your eyes or if you take a minute we can have
Mm-hmm.
everyone do this together right now, okay?
Okay.
So, everyone can close their eyes, let their shoulders drop, take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out. What is something you can open your eyes whenever you want, but what is something you've been wanting to do that you told
Mm-hmm.
yourself you don't have time for? What is something I'm gonna ask a couple questions and then you can,
Mm-hmm.
pick one that works. What is something that keep sort of just knocking at your brain. This could be
Mhm.
interesting. This could be, oh, I shouldn't do that. You might have an immediate reaction. What is something that your friends have done or someone that you see on social media is doing and you're like, they can't do that secretly while you
Mhm.
totally want to do that?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I'm
Big or
already feeling
small?
like, for a daily I'm going small because I've already
Yeah,
done a lot of
good.
big stuff and
Small
writing
is better.
books.
Small is
Yeah.
better.
So my focus is on the small stuff right now. I think just feeling that tug to get out in nature more in the morning. Sometimes when I get out there, it's later in the day and I love it, but I'm telling you, there's something about that morning, um, like you're kind of getting up with the dawn. You're out there with nature kind of waking up. There's dew is still on the grass. I'm telling you, it's so invigorating for me. And I find myself going, oh, I'll take a walk later or I'll do it a little later. But I think it's about the timing of the day of getting out in nature that is just calls to me. So I think that's my number
That's
one. And then my
that's
second one I
amazing.
think is I think I want to spend some time getting my art center up and going again. Because if it's not organized, I don't know if anyone else out there like me. I'm like, I have this idea. I love painting. I'm selling a lot of my paintings now, but I feel like I've been a little out of practice with it. So you mentioned the word intentionality earlier, and I thought to be able to just sit down and do it if I have 10 minutes to sketch out something, or if I have a couple hours to actually work on a painting, I think getting myself organized first will help me just step into that on a more daily basis. So those were two that immediately came to my mind as you
Yeah,
were talking.
those are beautiful, and I love that they are 2 different areas that you can do each day,
Mhm.
right? Like, so I
Yeah.
think that the art one is just a matter of clearing the space.
Yep.
Like I said, you need the environmental design, you need
Yep.
a place that welcomes you in
Yep.
to doing it, so that's something I would just try to go and clean, or if it's a huge mess, maybe not yours, but for other people listening, I've had messes sometimes. My
Yeah.
husband, you don't ask him about that, I'm usually pretty neat, but is creating, even if you do just a little bit a day, right?
Yes.
Like sometimes they'll clean out
Yes.
one drawer a week, a day or a week or
Yeah.
whatever it takes. Cause we all have a lot of responsibilities, but
Mhm.
that's showing your intention to make space for this. And
Yes.
as far as the nature one, yes, that one speaks to me as well. There's
Mhm.
research around that as well. That
Yeah.
starting your day with the sun, getting
Ooh.
out, getting that vitamin D exposure, that is good
Mhm.
for your brain. It helps set your circadian rhythms. It, releases your
Yeah.
creativity into the day. So if
Yeah.
that's something you're called for, I would
Oh, I
highly
love that.
recommend it. And
Mm.
in fact, another new research just came out last week about blue spaces. So I don't know. I kind of count the sky. I don't know if that
Yeah.
counts necessarily, but that would be lakes, rivers, coastal areas, and
Ooh.
how being around blue spaces can
Yes.
decrease your stress and anxiety. And especially in children, they find that children that spend a lot of time
Wow.
in blue spaces as adults will have decreased amount of
Wow.
stress and anxiety and, clearly time in nature. There's so much about green space as well.
Oh, I
Mm.
love that. I don't live by water. Would my pool count? I'm wondering.
I'm gonna count it. I
Okay, cool.
am gonna
I'm
count
gonna go
it
sit there
because
and enjoy it like it's the
let's
ocean.
just, be inclusive.
Yeah.
But I think that your main point, and I really wanna stress it for everyone
Mhm.
listening, because right now, whoever's listening, you might be in the grocery store, you might be
Yep.
driving in your car, you might be, with one headphone in,
Yeah.
like emptying out backpacks or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like starting small.
Right. Right.
Because that way you'll actually get started, right? So even
Yep.
if you just like pull out, like some people I say, just pull out your art book
Mhm.
and have your clean your paintbrushes and
Mhm.
that's it for today. Then the next
Yes.
day you can do the next bit until that becomes your regular routine.
Oh, I love it. Well, and I think it's hitting me, and this is again where you're catching me where I'm at in my life. As we are moving into empty nest, my husband and I, and this we're only our second month in, so this is why it's really fresh in my mind. If I'm not playing well, we can't play well together. So we're calling it, what I've called it oftentimes is space within, space between. We're really feeling like, oh, we get to actually start nurturing the space between of how we play together. But oops, I'm not really played. He's not really played. We've been so focused on working and kids that we said, we got to figure out some of our own playtime before we do the space between. So even as we're looking at space between, even today, right now we're saying we're calling it massage Mondays. We're just getting massages on Mondays, and that's how we're playing right now together. We're like, we're gonna go get massage Mondays. We've also hired a trainer together where we start out the Monday mornings for the week. We start out with a trainer and we're doing boxing, which we're having a blast with. We're loving the boxing. but how we play together as a couple has to be nurtured by how we play on our own, if that makes sense. That's what we're realizing. Any thoughts on that, Laura?
Well, playing together is always important and playing on
Mhm,
your own as well. And I
mhm,
would say I would have to say an either or in that case.
mhm.
I don't think that there's one way or the other way.
Yeah.
Wherever we can spark our play, that's what
Mm,
I focus on,
yeah.
right? So, like, is my coaching background, I remember, like, especially growing up, like, being a tennis coach, a lot of coaches would say something, I would hear them say, like, "Don't put your racket like that," or "Don't do that with your arm," and
Mhm.
I'm like, "You can't say what not to do, you wanna
Yeah.
say what to do, otherwise they don't know."
Yeah.
So, wherever you find a spark,
Ooh, I
whether
love
it's
it.
together first
Yeah.
or individual first, I would follow that lead.
Ooh,
I
I
don't
love
think
it.
there's one way to do it
Mhm.
because
Mm,
play is so unique to each
mhm,
one of us. And I feel like if one of you lights your play spark,
mhm,
you'll naturally have this energy that will bring the other one too. And it's okay if you play separate
mm,
as well for couples. Like my
yeah.
husband and I, we have a lot of fun. We do a lot of things together. And then we
Mhm,
have separate interests. And it's
mhm,
really nice to have that and be able to come back and share with each other and,
mhm,
just being open and looking for
mhm,
ways to if you don't have the same thing, just share about it and listen to
mhm,
each other's
mhm,
play because in sharing the thing that lights you up, like you could
mhm,
be like, I just went for this most beautiful walk this morning and I saw this butterfly and I couldn't believe how it hovered over the bush and,
mm,
like savoring that moment
yeah.
and painting the picture of it. He can then
Mhm,
feel that. And,
mhm.
you can have these shared moments.
Yeah, and what I really like that you said, and this is for all our listeners out there that might feel a little discouraged or overwhelmed or not sure where to start, especially as I looked at those three, I could identify with all three barriers, the health, having the not having the health and the energy, not knowing what to do and not having the time. I just want to encourage you. I love the idea of the spark. Whatever whatever really lights your spark, you get to step into that, you get to engage that, you get to stay curious about it, you get to explore it. That in itself is part of playing. And then I liked something you said earlier. It's okay if you have to be intentional. I think I felt really silly to sit down and go, I can't believe I've lost some of my playful spirit. I've got to sit down and actually write a list. Like, where did I go? I almost felt like a failure, and I realized no, you're not. You just have been working hard. And your kids were naturally your spark. Whatever stage of life they were in, they were naturally your spark. You'd play with them a lot. Now it's time for you to look at yourself and say, well, how do you like to play? What is your spark? What's the spark you want to offer? How do you want to be intentional about this on your own? And as a couple, it's a whole new paradigm shift for me. And I think that's the hope that I love that you mentioned earlier. And I think I want to offer it to our listeners. It's okay if you have to be a little intentional. And it's okay if you lose a little bit of your play streak. You can go
Right.
find it again.
Right, and I think it's just the way our society is set up right now is just that we're so bombarded, like 2 really
Mhm.
popular books right now that are about play. The author's previous book was about one of them was about breaking up with your phone and how, like, the phone gets in the way, and when she cleared her addiction to her phone, well, she wasn't necessarily addicted, but
Yeah.
she was able then to write a whole book, The Power of Fun, and I'm talking about Catherine Price. She's an amazing
Oh,
author
yes.
and advocate for fun. And also Eve Rodsky, she wrote about fair play, about the balance of tasks
Mm,
at home and the balance
mm.
between men and women. And then her follow-up book is Unicorn Space, which
Yep.
is about fun and
Oh, I
bringing
love
that
it.
fun and sharing it with other people. So, we're
Mm,
wherever you are, don't beat yourself up. It happens to me. I
mhm.
sometimes get in the go, go, go with my deadlines, with my illustrations, with my editor for my book. And
Yes.
luckily, I've have these tools that
Mhm,
I've used to plan it in. And so
mhm.
what if you have to be formal, like you said, but,
Yes.
just being okay with where you're at, accepting it, and then how can you add a touch more? And how can you make
Oh,
it small and doable
mm,
and invite others in to join you?
I love it. What's some of your intentionality and play on a daily basis?
Well, I love starting the day with a little dance party with my kids or just, that's with them
Mhm,
for me. Creativity is a huge
mm,
source. I know you mentioned your art studio. I recently started to do art myself
mm,
and do this, journaling and
mm.
collage art, and it's like really fun. You can do this thing,
Mhm.
eco printing. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. It's so cool. You
Wow.
can go pick flowers. Like I have a lot of flowers out my
Mhm.
yard, and then you can make these handmade journals. And then you can you can like break the flowers into your journal and you can steam it. And then you remove the petals and they leave imprints on your journal. It's
Wow.
amazing. And so I learned that from an artist, and she's going to be
Mm.
featured in one of the games in my book, even, which is so fun because
Oh.
she just inspires play. Like she brings play to her art. So
Oh.
it's really fun.
I love that.
And I was scared to do that. I want to mention that for everybody.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not an artist.
Mhm. Mhm.
What am I doing? But I never had so much fun. I have a reel that I made of me like putting the flowers together. Even making the reel for me was
Yeah.
so fun.
Yes.
'Cause it was like this playful expression, this
Mhm.
artistic outlet, and creativity is one of the ways that you can have stress leaving your body, like
Mm.
creativity, laughter, connection, movement,
Well, I
physical
love that.
touch.
I love that because I think if we have good guides, they allow us to risk. Like for you, I would totally take an improv class from you. Now, after talking to you, like this, I went into conversation like, oh my goodness, that's my biggest fear. I don't ever want to get up. I mean, here I get up for a living, but to get up to try and secure a laugh, that to me feels terrified. But now I'm listening to you and I go, oh, I'd do it with Laura. I'd totally sign up if it was Laura.
Yay. Oh my gosh, yay.
So I
Yeah.
think it's that idea of how we risk in safe community is very important for us as adults. And that's the other thing I want to just encourage people. It's okay. Maybe your intent is going off that this person isn't a really safe guy to step into whatever, a yoga class or an art class or something like this. They're using shame or they're using some other tactic that makes you feel really insecure about risking. I've coached people out of classes. Like literally, go fire that teacher, go fire that prof. That is not someone you ever have to go fire that doctor. You never have to encounter any form of shame when you're trying to risk or you're trying to get knowledge. So listening to you, I'm like, oh, that's okay. That if we want to step into it, we get to choose the people that we want to step into it with, whether they're a guide or a friend or a peer or on our own. You're our own best friend. How we step into that and who we step into is equally important.
Yeah, 100%. Find your community
Yeah.
and enter into it. One of the key things of play is it's free will, right? So you're
Mm,
doing it of your own accord and you're
yes.
doing it for no reason other than the sake of doing it. Like
Yes.
even when I do improv, I'm not trying to make someone laugh. If I think that, I will be like, but I'm just doing it for fun. And so if I'm just showing up
Oh,
in a playful spirit,
yeah.
when I'm on stage, at shows at the actual theater, if
Yes.
I'm having fun, they're gonna have fun watching me.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so yeah, you're talking to an achiever. So automatically I'm thinking, what do I have to achieve? I got to get them to laugh. You're
That's
right
why
on.
I loved it as like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
a super athlete background. I'm like, "This is great. I don't have to win anything. There's no competitions."
Yes.
Right? And so don't put that pressure on yourself. I'm telling
Right.
that to me and all the other
Yeah.
people listening that have this lifetime of that.
Right. And that's the same thing when I get up and speak. I just get to enjoy the people in front of me. That's really my only focus. It's not to have some kind of transcendent experience. It's just to simply enjoy each other in the room. Once I say that to myself, I'm able to enjoy my whole speaking experience. So I love
Mhm.
that thought of taking the pressure off yourself and not putting the pressure onto you. Same thing with art.
Yeah.
That pressure of it has to look like whatever Monet or Van Gogh or someone. My goodness, no, it does not. The art experience gets to just simply be enjoyable and fun without the critique. So if you have someone in there who's critiquing it, you just lost the fun. Go enjoy your art because it is really close to your heart, but go enjoy arts any kind of way of form to let yourself just to stay curious about what you're exploring and what you're able to express in that art. But it's not for the purpose to have some kind of product at the end that you want to sell. That's never
Right.
it.
Yeah, you just do it for the sake of making art, and
Yes.
that's it. And I think if we can give ourselves the permission and the
Mm,
space to say, "That's worth my time,"
mhm.
you'll see this amazing, bouquet forming around you as you do it.
Oh,
And
I
that's my
love it.
experience with person after person,
Mhm,
working with people one-on-one, working with people in my author moms community, working with people,
mm.
out in the life on stages. And it's just so fun to hear. So if anyone tries it, reach out. I'd love to hear your stories and your
Mm,
wins or any blocks. I'm so passionate about inspiring people to, approach the idea of play and bring just tidbits into their life. I love hearing,
mm.
your wins or your struggles. So anyone feel free to connect with me.
Oh, I love that. For a while, I was working with a lot of working moms, and the exhaustion, the fatigue when they would come into any of my retreats or workshops I would do. I would always start it with art and kind of modeling for them how to start playing. But one of the things I would talk about is this idea of getting me retreats in. And I remember one woman, I still remember her raising her head going, "Am I allowed to do that?" And a me retreat is this idea of taking yourself away for a couple days on your own me retreat to go play and do whatever you want. The only rule is you don't do anything you have to do. You only do things you want to do. And that's really how we have defined playing as adults now. Just something you want to do. You don't have to do. And then get rid of the critic, the inner critic, the outer critic, get rid of those critics that are wanting to critique why you're doing something or how you're doing
Love it.
it.
Absolutely love it. And I will take it a step further and I would invite everybody to have a
Yes.
little me time each day as a
Mm,
super challenge, even 2 minutes of me time when
love
you
it.
need to start making dinner. Kick
Mm,
back and daydream for a minute.
love that. Love that. Wow, I can't believe how fast this time goes, Laura. I feel like we could chat about this
I
and really get
know.
inspired with our playtime. It's a
For
form of
sure.
playing for me to be able to talk about this. So thanks for
Mm.
spending time with me today.
Oh, no, it was my pleasure, and thank you
Mm,
so much for inviting me, and for everybody listening, just know that you're doing an amazing job wherever you are at,
mm,
and, play is a welcome path for you, and, even just a teeny bit, you don't have to start
mm.
big. I can just repeat that over and over. Keep it
Yeah.
simple, keep it small.
Yes, I love that. Well, one of the questions I love to end with is what is your morning ritual? Kind of hinted at it earlier, but one of the things I have found with people I work with all over the world that are doing great things with their lives, they usually have some sort of morning ritual. So I don't even ask anymore if you have one. I just start asking people, what's yours? Because I love hearing it. So, what's your morning rituals?
Well, it's so funny when you were saying that morning nature bit
Yeah.
because I was thinking that's what I love to do. I love to
Mm,
wake up, go
mm-hmm,
outside. If I can, go for a run or a
mm-hmm,
walk. If I don't have space because of like the kids' schedule, then at
mm-hmm.
least go outside and like look at some nature or even from the window if it's
Yeah.
cold for people that don't, live in different cold places, but
Yeah.
like centering. But even before that, just a moment of gratitude in
Mm.
the morning. Like, I have this game I created in my book, which is called Gratitude Detectives,
Oh,
and it's where you need to look for something new each
mm.
day to be grateful for. So I do it before bed with the kids, but I like to do it in
Oh,
the morning myself as well.
oh,
And the
yes.
key is finding a new thing because it's
Mm,
forming your skill of filtering the world through eyes
mm-hmm,
of gratitude.
mm.
So I do that, and then I do a morning sun salutation, kind of like stretches and yoga, a little yoga poses. I do a little center channel meditation, visualization.
Love it.
And when I can, I find time to journal. And then I have a glass of water or two to start the day.
Mm,
And then I welcome the kids and my husband. I say, "Good morning, Glory," or "Good morning, sunshine." And I make sure to give them a
yeah.
welcome hello.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. Thank you. That is just very inspiring and even
Oh,
just
and
how
I
you
wanna add
step into
one
it.
more piece. This
Yes.
piece is maybe the most important piece, which I don't wanna forget, is I set a daily intention
Mm.
each day fresh for that day.
Oh, I love that.
Mm.
Love that. What's your intention for today?
So for today, it was for creative expression and
Mm.
service. So I noticed I've been getting a lot of input of information. I attended this conference this weekend, and I've been
Mm.
getting a lot in, and I
Mm.
was noticing it was time to start getting some out, right? So in some
Mm.
writing and some
Mhm.
artistic, drawing, and
Mhm.
even sharing here today,
Yeah.
sharing and getting something out because it's important to pay attention to both directions.
Oh, I love that. What you give out and what you take in. I love that.
So yeah,
Wow.
thank you so much. I feel like we could talk forever,
We
and it was
could.
been a real pleasure.
We could do a 3C living conference and your 3 Cs and my 3 Cs.
And we have to have me time, right? Like the whole me time will be many
Exactly.
breaks.
Exactly. Well, again, thanks so much for your time. And I'm just going to leave it with our listeners saying, go play, go find something to do that makes you smile, that makes you chuckle, that makes you kind of feel young again and in a good way. Feel young in a good way, like you just jumped on your tire swing and it reminded you of something you loved in your childhood. We're just both cheering you on as you find your clarity, your confidence, your courage, and move into a life of thriving, not just surviving, but a life of thriving. Take care, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We'd love a review. Helps us out quite a bit. Wherever you are, just drop a review, and you can find out more at heatherpenny.com. Cheering you on.